Welcome to my continuing video series on the Kowa Spoke Cutter. Before I move on to using the micro adjuster on the Kowa Spoke Cutter, I'm first going to cover the basic principle of exactly how a spoke cutter, spoke threader operates. What does it do exactly when threading or rolling new threads on a spoke? First thing you must understand is that all spoke threaders do the exact same thing. Doesn't matter whether it's a Phil Wood, a Morizumi, or a Kowa, they all do the exact same thing. It's the same principle in operation. What I have before you here is I have a soft material, Play-Doh. And I'm using this to model the soft material that we use for our spokes. Stainless steel is actually a soft material. That's not a joke. This is a soft material. Stainless steel is soft compared to this very hard material right here. A titanium alloy spoke is also a soft material. You're thinking titanium, that's got to be hard and strong. Yes, it is, but it's a soft material as compared to this very hard material right here. Ultra chrome plated spoke on steel. This is also a soft material, especially when compared to this very hard material right here. Here I have a material that's harder than the Play-Doh. Piece of wood with a pattern on it. And a matching piece that's longer. Piece of wood with a pattern on it. Harder than the Play-Doh. I'm using these to represent these dies. These are a set of dies. This is what's used in the Kowa Spoke Cutter. Super heavy, extremely heavy. Super hard, and they have a pattern on them. Both of them, a matching pattern. That's the short die, which is usually stationary. This is the long die, which is the one that moves. So what happens when we roll a spoke, when we thread a spoke? It's very simple. The first step is a timing step. And this is achieved using a flipper or feed ramp. Something that takes the soft material and places it on the beginning point of the short stationary die. That's part one. Those dies have to be properly aligned. They have to be like that. They can't be like this, and they can't be like this. They have to be properly aligned. So the flipper that does the timing part puts the soft material on the beginning of the short stationary die. When we pull the lever or handle that actuates the longer moving die, it starts it off with the tip of the longer moving die on top. And then what do we do? When we actuate the handle and continue further, we're taking this upper longer moving die and we're rolling this soft material across the bottom stationary shorter die, and we're going to go right off the end, increasing pressure as we move across. Just like that. And I'm sure you noticed this soft material that started off as nice, clean, and round now has a pattern on it, which looks similar to threads. What I just demonstrated for you there is exactly how a spoke threading machine works. Phil Wood, Morizumi, Kowa, doesn't matter. They all do the exact same thing. The same principle in operation. Most important thing you understand is that this is the soft material, this is the hard material. You're making the soft material under pressure yield to the harder material, conform to the harder material, and inherit the pattern that's on the harder material. That's exactly what you're doing. And we call this process cold forging. We're not applying any heat, we're not melting anything, we're not brazing or welding anything. We're simply taking a soft material at room temperature and using pressure to make it yield to, conform to, and inherit a pattern off a harder material. It's cold forging, that's what it is. Same thing happens with these. These dies are in a spoke machine, properly aligned to each other. A flipper will take the soft material, put it on the edge of the hard, short stationary die, and the slider that you actuate the handle will start off on the end and then roll that spoke under increasing pressure off the other end of the shorter stationary die. And that soft material, stainless steel, titanium, ultra chrome plated spoke, even old 1950s and 60s zinc spokes, will yield to, conform to, and inherit the pattern that's on these dies. And if done successfully, that spoke will end up with threads on it. That's exactly how it works. When something goes wrong with threading, rolling threads, there are 5 areas you have to consider. 3 that have already been touched upon here, and 2 additional ones beyond it, or outside of it. When you encounter a threading issue, it might be a timing issue. This step, putting the material on the end of the short stationary die, maybe something's going wrong there. The chance of that is pretty unlikely. Usually it's preset at the factory on your spoke machine. You don't do any adjustment on it. Usually it's not there. Second thing you have to consider is maybe my dies are not properly aligned. Maybe my dies are like this or like this instead of properly aligned. That's another question you have to ask yourself or consider when you have a threading issue. Maybe when I'm rolling across, I'm not applying the correct pressure on my spoke machine. Maybe the overall pressure is too low, or maybe too high. Maybe the dies are too tight. That could be another problem. That's something you have to consider. Outside of that, remember your moving die, your longer die, is using bearings to roll. Maybe your bearings are going bad and causing the longer moving die to skip or hesitate or stutter. It could be that. Then there's the final issue you have to consider. Maybe your dies are bad. They don't last forever. Some will go 10,000 cycles, some will go 20,000 cycles, some can be pushed to 30. But there will come a point in time where the threads on your dies will get corrupted. They'll become chipped, they'll flake. Segments of them will just disappear. One might even develop a burr. And when you get enough of that on the dies, you get to the point where you simply just can't use the dies anymore. You have to take them out and replace them. You have to consider that possibility as well. So hopefully this video gives you a good understanding of exactly how the threading operation works on your spoke cutter. I'm pretty sure the next video coming up is going to be on how to use the micro adjuster on your Kowa spoke machine so that you get the correct threads and you're able to thread your spokes consistently for long periods of time before any maintenance is required. See you in the next video.